Welcome to Horror Year, where every story is a journey into the unknown. If you're brave enough to face your darkest fears and uncover the most chilling tales, you've come to the right place. So, dim the lights, turn up the volume, and subscribe to Horror Year. Your journey into terror begins now. Years had passed since they had last dreamed of this scene. Sarah and Ethan, recently weds, arriving at the remote cabin they had planned for their honeymoon, deep in the woods, far away from the bustle of the city. The seclusion seemed ideal for beginning their new life together. The old gas station they'd passed 10 miles back was the sole indication of civilization. The attendant asked them where they were going and gave them a peculiar look. The attendant had remarked, "You sure you want to stay out there?" with a hint of worry or caution in his voice that Sarah was unable to identify. Ethan dismissed it with humor. "Isn't it just a log cabin in the forest? How could something go wrong?" By the time they got there, the sun had set. The exterior of the cottage was ideal, rustic, with a wraparound porch and a view of the tall, dark trees. However, there was something strange inside. It was a thick air with an odd, lingering fragrance, as if something old and damp had been allowed to fester. Sarah was uncomfortable, even though Ethan attempted to ignore it. Put his arms around her, he replied, "It's just the smell of old wood. I'll start a fire. It will become cozy quickly." They unpacked their suitcases as the fireplace crackled with flames. Sarah noted that the bedroom closet was locked, which was strange. She pulled on the door, but it remained in place. She muttered to herself, "Weird," but she ignored it. She didn't want to ruin the mood because, after all, it was their honeymoon. Sarah was fidgety when they laid in bed later that night. The trees created unsettling shadows on the walls, while the wind howled outside. She was overcome with the sensation that they weren't alone. "Have you heard that?" Sarah gripped Ethan's arm and murmured. Half drowsy, he said, "Hear what?" A steady, methodical scratching sound reverberated around the cabin. With her heart pounding, Sarah sat up. "That," she persisted, but the sound abruptly ceased when Ethan strained to hear. Ethan pulled her back down into his arms and reassured her, "It's probably just an animal outside. Go to bed." But Sarah was unable to fall asleep. As her gaze swept across the space, she saw something. The closet door was just barely ajar. Her stomach fell. Was it not locked by her? With panic building in her breast, she nudged Ethan. "The closet is open," I said. Ethan sighed, now agitated. "Sarah, it's just a closet," she firmly stated, her voice faltering. "No, I secured it." Despite his irritation, Ethan stood up and resolved to show that everything was okay. He approached the closet and forcefully pulled it open. Void. He turned to smile at Sarah, but before he could say anything, the closet door slammed shut, trapping Ethan within. With a scream, Sarah raced to the door and tugged and twisted at the handle, but it remained stuck. Ethan's voice, muffled and strained, shouted out from inside in a panic. "Sarah, aid me!" Her hands shaking from the tears that were streaming down her face, she banged on the door. "Attempting," she exclaimed. Abruptly, the scratching sound, which was originating from inside the closet, came again, stronger this time. Ethan started to scream in terror, but his voice sounded distorted as if someone was choking him. The sound of his words chilled Sarah to the bone. After that, things came to an end. The door creaked open on its own, slowly. There was nothing in the closet. Not you, Ethan. Nothing. Nothing but quiet. With her heart pounding in her chest, Sarah took a step back. The front door would not open as she dashed from the room, down the stairs, and approaching it. Their cell phones were nowhere to be located, so she hurriedly looked for one. It felt like the cabin closed in around her. Abruptly, the scratching noise was back, stronger this time and emanating from the walls all around her. The rot-related stink filled the air. With a scream, Sarah's voice reverberated throughout the deserted cottage. A chilling breath touched her nape. She turned and saw Ethan standing there, or at least an impersonation of him. His eyes were empty, his complexion pallid, and his lips twisted into a hideous smile. "You're not Ethan." Sarah backed away in shock and muttered. The object that appeared to have moved closer to Ethan. Its voice was a warped caricature of her husband's as it added, "But I am. Sarah, I'll be here for you forever, indefinitely." Before the darkness engulfed Sarah, she last saw the closet door crack open once more and heard scraping approaching. The cabin was silent in the morning. The fire had long since gone out and the bed was not made. The closet door was ajar, letting in just the gloom. The newlyweds vanished from sight. All right, that's it for today. Thanks so much for watching. Now I want to hear from you. What did you think about today's video? Do you have any tips or ideas you want to share? Let me know in the comments. Also, what topics would you like to see me cover next? I'm always open to suggestions, so drop your ideas down below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And if you're new here, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you never miss an update. Thanks again for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.